Let's jump right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're unpacking a truly fascinating piece of ancient literature, the Janavasabha Sutta. Now, you may be thinking, what on earth does a thousands of years old text have to offer us today? Well, as we're going to see from the source material, it actually hands us some profound cognitive technologies for finding absolute peace. It's a highly structured framework that is, surprisingly enough, incredibly relevant for finding clarity, even in our hyper-fast, super distracted AI era. So our explainer actually kicks off with a bit of a mystery. The source text tells us that the Buddha had just prophesied the heavenly rebirths of hundreds of his deceased followers, right? He's announcing they've hit these really high stages of enlightenment, states like stream enter or non-returner. But his incredibly devoted attendant, Ānanda, realized something was, well, kind of off. While hundreds of followers' fates were proudly announced, the devout people of the Magadha region, along with their late, highly righteous King Bimbisāra, were completely left out of the shoutouts. And this glaring omission left the living followers in Magadha totally confused. They were feeling forgotten, and honestly, they were starting to doubt the value of their own spiritual progress. To get to the absolute bottom of this, we're going to cover 5 key areas today. First, the mystery of Magadha. Second, the appearance of Janavasabha. Third, the Brahma's vision. Fourth, the heart of mind training. And finally, the requisites of concentration. Starting us off with Section 1, the mystery of Magadha and Ānanda's dilemma. To figure this out, Ānanda actually approaches the Buddha privately early in the morning to bring up the anxiety of the Magadhan people. And honestly, this earthly concern just brilliantly illustrates the massive disconnect between human perception and cosmic reality. Down on Earth, Ānanda and the folks of Magadha are feeling totally overlooked, doubting their spiritual progress. But up in the Tavatimsa heaven, it is a completely different story. The divine beings, the Devatas, are literally rejoicing because their numbers are swelling with those exact same virtuous arrivals from Magadha. So the humans were mourning a lack of recognition, while the heavens were basically throwing a massive welcome party. Which brings us to Section 2, the appearance of Janavasa and the Yaksha's revelation. Seeking answers to Ānanda's dilemma, the Buddha drops into deep meditation. And this intensely focused mental state prompts a radiant, totally otherworldly being to suddenly appear right before him. This glowing figure announces himself with a booming voice as Janavasabha. But here is the crucial twist. Janavasabha is actually the reincarnated celestial Yaksha identity of Magadha's beloved late King Bimbisāra. He explains he's been reborn as a close companion to the heavenly King Vasavana. So this instantly proves that the righteous of Magadha definitely were not forgotten. Their king is absolutely thriving up in the celestial realms. Moving on to Section 3, the Brahma's vision, focusing on a heavenly assembly. Now Janavasabha doesn't just show up with news of his own rebirth. He brings this massive, epic transmission of knowledge. He recounts witnessing a spectacular gathering in heaven where an overwhelmingly radiant supreme being named Sanankumara Brahma appeared. The source text meticulously documents how this being's wisdom was passed down, almost like an ancient game of telephone, but perfectly preserved in an unbroken chain of truth. Just look at this flow. First, Sanankumar Brahma speaks to the gods. Second, King Vasavana hears it and tells his assembly. Third, Janavasabha listens and relays it to the Buddha. Fourth, the Buddha receives the message and tells Ānanda. And finally, transmission number 5, Ānanda teaches the human followers. It's just a beautifully documented lineage of data transfer straight from the highest heavens directly to us. All right, Section 4, the heart of mind training and the Brahma's wisdom. So, we know exactly how the message arrived, but what was the actual message Sanankumara Brahma delivered? Well, it wasn't just some mystical poetry. It was a highly structured, hard-hitting framework for training the mind. He kicks things off with the 4 bases of power: will or desire, energy, mind or consciousness, and investigation. The Brahma explains that these are ancient tools requiring immense focus and striving. They're basically the engine used to achieve extraordinary mastery over oneself. In fact, he explicitly notes that anyone in the past, present, or future who achieves profound mental feats does so by cultivating these exact 4 bases. No exceptions. Next up, the Brahma lays out 3 incredibly clear, sequential avenues to achieve profound happiness. And we're talking about a joy that completely outshines any ordinary fleeting pleasure. Step 1 is to detach completely from sensual and unskillful desires. Just cut them off. Step 2 requires the practitioner to calm all coarse bodily, verbal, and mental formations. Essentially, you are quieting your deeply ingrained habits and knee-jerk reactions. And step 3 is to abandon ignorance, so you can clearly see what is wholesome and unwholesome. The text absolutely promises that executing these 3 steps yields a powerful, liberating joy. But, how do you actually maintain that clear state once you have it? Well, the text tells us you have to rely on the 4 foundations of mindfulness. This means systematically observing the body in the body, observing feelings in feelings, observing the mind in the mind, and observing mental phenomena, basically the underlying nature of reality itself. Crucially here, these are practiced internally first, and only then applied externally to the world around you. It's a completely uncompromising observation of reality designed to strip away all attachment and distress. Finally, Section 5, the requisites of concentration, which is the ultimate framework. This entire cosmological journey, from Ānanda's earthly worries all the way to a glowing divine messenger, finally culminates in this ultimate 7-part framework for locking in absolutely unbreakable mental focus. The crucial takeaway here is how each of these steps perfectly cascades into the next, building this impenetrable chain of ethical and mental fortitude. It goes like this. Right view provides the foundation, which naturally leads directly to right resolve. From there, right resolve fuels right speech ensures right action supports right livelihood enables right effort, and finally, right effort naturally culminates in right mindfulness. You literally cannot skip a step. It is a meticulously engineered psychological progression. Now, when those 7 preceding steps are flawlessly executed, they serve as the requisites that form right concentration. And once right concentration is locked in, it inevitably triggers right knowledge. Finally, right knowledge yields the ultimate prize, right release. It's just a perfect, unstoppable cascade of cause and effect. Son Anandakumara Brahma wraps up his transmission to the heavenly assembly with this incredibly powerful, absolute guarantee. He declares, "The doors of nirvana are open for you." The text doesn't present this as some vague hope or maybe it'll happen scenario. It is a guaranteed outcome for anyone who diligently applies these frameworks. As we process this incredible journey today, going from a worldly mystery about missing followers to a literal divine masterclass in cosmic concentration, we have to look at our own lives. I want to leave you with this question. How can we use these ancient technologies of the mind as the ultimate foundation for peace today? Whether it's practicing those 4 bases of power to hyper-focus your energy or using the foundations of mindfulness to combat your daily anxiety, really ask yourself how you might deploy these ancient tools to find clarity in your own modern life. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep structuring your mind, and I'll catch you next time.